Welcome to the Financial Planners Southeast Asia podcast, a show dedicated to driving the positive evolution of financial advice, specifically within Southeast Asia. To join a global community of financial advisors sharing and learning with one another to drive the positive evolution of financial advice, head to xyadvisor.com. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Financial Advisors Southeast Asia podcast. Gwen here, and today I am with Raymond Chan. He is a licensed financial planner and the business development manager of VKA Wealth Planner based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Hi, Raymond, and thank you so much for coming into the show.
Hi, Gwen. Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone who's listening into this podcast. My name is Raymond Chan.
Right. And so Raymond is a financial planner who has been in the industry for almost a decade now. And so I guess the first question that I'd like to ask is, how did you come into the financial advice industry in the first place?
Well, since young, to be a financial planner wasn't in the picture. You know, when you're in school, your teacher will ask you, what would you like to be in the future? I remember vividly, I wanted to be a singer, I wanted to be a badminton player. Those are things that I liked, but never a financial planner. I mean, no one writes that in their what I want to be in the future. My mom, in fact, she is an insurance agent back then. And then since young, when we were together over the weekends, she would bring me around to meet her friends. So when I was young, as far as I remember, I'm thinking, how can one person have so many friends and so many places to visit? When she go there, they are very happy to see her. Hey, Apple, come, I have food. Come, have your kid here and join us to eat together. So I didn't know exactly what was she doing then. I just know that she had a lot of friends. Then later, when I was in uni, during semester break, I wasn't required to do an internship, but since I had free time, I told her, hey mom, why not I do internship with you? And then from there, I have a better idea what is she doing. And that time she really converted to be a licensed financial planner too. And then I have a greater idea. She planned with her clients in terms of insurance planning, investment planning, estate planning, and all those. So one clear scene I vividly remember was it was a Wednesday afternoon after we met a client. Then she told me, hey son, let's go for shopping. I looked at her, Wednesday shopping. Are you sure? Sure, let's go. So that was the day I told her, yes mom, I want to be like you. I want to be a financial planner. Tell me what I need to do. Yeah, so it was a very interesting story. Then once I graduated, I couldn't find a job. I was thinking maybe I get a 9-to-5 job, build up my network, get to know more people, but I couldn't land a job. So what happened is I told mom, and she was like, you have no job, come, just join me, be my admin for a while look for a job. So as I was working with her as an administrative person, then I took my CFP cert over 3 years. Then in April of 2014, I got my full cert, and I've been practicing financial planning till today.
7 years.
Yeah, 7 years. Time really indeed flies. My first client actually indeed is firstborn of the family, and every time I look at her, I remind myself that is how long I'm in financial planning. She's now in primary school. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. And well, that's very interesting because your mother obviously did not really coax you or groom you to become a financial advisor or a financial planner, but you chose to be in the industry. And it's funny because that you all you thought was that your mom was just popular. She had so many friends.
Yes.
And it's very interesting that kids can see those things in their parents and think nothing of it. And also, a point that you mentioned that nobody as a child would ever say that they wanted to become a financial planner.
Yes.
A lot of people would like to say that they wanted to become a doctor.
Lawyer,
accountants, lawyers, and they provide yeah, they're professionals who provide services that help people. And
Mm.
well, financial planners do the same as well, but nobody ever wants to be that person.
Yes,
So
yes.
but it's interesting that you, who saw your mom as a financial planner, I guess you saw the value that she provided to her clients. Is it safe to say that that was like one of the reasons why you got into the industry?
I mean, in her visitations to her clients, there are some that are for happy events or happy occasions. There was once I've been with her to Ipoh. It was in another state. It takes about 2 hours, 3 hours drive. In fact, the client was a cancer patient, and then she was there to do the claims and whatnot. So there were ups and downs, and I can see clearly that uh, by doing what she did make a difference in other people's life. And so I realized that as I was doing my CFP, it was 6 papers in total, and dealing with financial planning topics. I realized this is not being taught in schools, where financial planning itself is very important. Like for example, if you do not attend estate planning before, you will not know the importance of writing a will. What would be the effect if you do not write a will? And oftentimes, when things happen, then people will ask, "Hey, did you buy insurance? Hey, did you write a will?" Where it could have been prevented if planning was done earlier when able.
Yes, yes. I can definitely attest to that because my dad died when I was in my 20s. I think when I was 20 years old or 21, my dad died, and he did not leave a will. So it was very difficult for me because my mom wasn't very tech savvy, and like in general, so I had to take care
You
of
have to
everything. Yeah,
step
and I
in to
didn't know.
assist.
I was 20 years old, and
Mm.
I didn't know that he had banks. Like he had accounts in these banks.
Yes, yes,
I didn't
yes.
know if he had insurance or not. Nobody approached me that this is what I was going to do, right? And that's where early on I realized the importance of informing your family members about your and talking about finance. And even then, I didn't really know what estate planning was at that time. I thought because it
Yes,
was an
indeed, indeed.
estate, yeah, like it was just for rich people. So I didn't really think about that until I met my husband, who was a financial advisor. But and now I am a very much an advocate for it because it's not
Mm.
just for the rich people. It's for people in general who wants to take care of their families even when they're no longer there. So yeah, and that's why I think that more kids should want to become financial advisors or financial
Yes, yes,
planners when
I
they grow
agree.
up.
Financial planning now and
Mm,
back then is a very two different landscape. Where at the beginning, when my mom were to tell people about insurance, she started out
yeah,
as
yeah,
an
as an
insurance
insurance.
agent in AIA. So my grandfather told her, "Why did you choose to do this line? Talking about insurance means you're talking about death, talking about bad things happening to people." He personally told her, "If you come and sell me insurance, I'll take a broom and then chase you out of the house." Because in that time it's simply like that. And
Mm,
somehow or another, money is a taboo subject. It's not being openly talked about. So that lead to a lot of financial situations. Maybe there are people that are her age or even her senior that could not retire because they did not thought of talking about money. Whereas now financial planning, it becomes something that is more widely accepted by people. You can talk to them and they are aware of it, they're aware of importance, and they are looking for how best to utilize their resources and do the planning.
yeah,
Mm.
and it's very important. And as you mentioned, it's an integral part of your adult life, and yet it's not taught in schools.
Yes,
So,
yes.
and you mentioned before we started recording uh, that your ideal client is someone who is fresh out of college, right? Like in their early 20s to their late 30s.
Mm.
And I can understand why, because this is like the best time for you as a financial planner to step in and help these people who were not taught in school about financial planning, and just to help them and assisting them into making better financial decisions. But I guess, like, because you came from, or that you've already assisted your mom
Mm.
in her job as an insurance advisor and then later as a financial planner, did you get to acquire her clients as she's retiring?
Yeah, so in fact, as I started, what we did was she would continue to service her own clients, and then if her clients have kids or maybe they get married, so I will be handling those new clients instead. So at the beginning when I started, I didn't want to fully rely on her natural market, so I approached my own people around my juniors within school, uni. So that's why I end up with clienteles between this age range. So at the beginning, it's very much of talking about budgeting, insurance planning. Then over time, it changed into I would like to save for the future. I would like to start saving for my kids' education and all those. So currently, my mom is considered fully retired. So a bulk of her clientele is now directly under my servicing.
All right.
I'm the one
And
servicing them now.
mhm, that's good. And
Mm.
it's comforting to know, in a client's perspective, because you have been taught by their previous financial planner, so it's easier. But I guess, like, how were you and your mom able to transition her clients over to yours, to make it as, let's say, painless as possible for her clients, right? Because I
Yeah.
think that it's not very easy to transition from one financial planner to the next, because if you've had a financial planner you've been uh, like a who you've relied on for advice, for financial advice.
Mm.
You have told them much about your journey in your life financially. There's already trust there, right? There's a
Yes.
foundation of trust. Uh, so how were you able to make sure that the clients were comfortable
Mm.
sharing their finances? Because you mentioned,
Yes.
um, talking about finances is still kind of a taboo here in Southeast
Mm.
Asia. So, yeah, like, how were you able to do that?
In fact, the succession planning wasn't being put in place at the beginning because
Mm,
when she was an active agent, insurance agent, what happens is if you leave the company, you go back to your agency leader. Then when she transitioned to become a financial planner, one of the key points is you can transfer your block of clients to another planner. So what happened was all her clients essentially we transcend beyond clients. It is we are as close as being family friends. Some of them I call auntie, uncle, and all
yeah.
this. So they've been seeing me since young, and then as a kid, and then they do track my progress as I graduate, as I work as her assistant. Because sometimes when my mom meet her clients, I'm in charge of doing the sales illustration for the insurance. So I'll be there and then doing the things and whatnot. Then she will always tell her clients, okay, this is my son, Raymond. So in future when I stop working, he'll be one taking over me. So as time goes by, she sort of start letting go, and then the clients will find me for questions, and then I'll tell them, okay, this is quite a technical question. Why not I discuss with my mom? So she did add this important key point to them to make them assured. She says to them, don't worry, if you call me, I will still answer your phone. And currently, you basically earn a bonus because you have two persons servicing you at the same time.
Yes, right.
Yeah,
So I guess one of the things that she did for her clients was still provide the assurance that she is still
correct. She's
available
still
for
there.
them.
She's
Yeah.
not the type that okay, good luck, goodbye. She's still around. You call her,
Yeah.
she'll still answer. Yeah.
All
So
right.
sometimes if they want, they can call my mom and complain. But so far, no one complained about me, lah, thankfully.
That would be very funny. But it's so yeah, I think that's a very good move as a retiring or as a retired financial planner, that you still keep the good faith and the trust that you have with your clients, even if they've already transitioned to another financial planner. But at the same time, um, also maintain the relationship between you as a retired financial planner and the current financial planner who's servicing your active clients. And that way, that I guess you're, because I think that even if you are the son of their old financial planner, if they
Mm-hmm.
don't see that you guys are still communicating, and still have this very good professional relationship, I think they might lose their trust a bit, or at least not feel as comfortable as they are, because you and your mom have fostered this really good professional relationship.
Correct. We do have a very close working relationship up till today. If, for example, any clients decide to buy any plans or execute any planning with me, I would also just notify her, hey, this client is doing this with me. So she do keep track and also have a second opinion. Sometimes she do ask me, why not you try looking at it from this angle instead of what you wanted to do. So I do have that
Mm.
advantage in the sense that I have a senior planner ready to back me up any time. In fact, talking about second generation, not all of the younger generation will be willing to just follow what their parents do. Some do follow, and this is Auntie Apple's son. She'll be in charge of doing your planning. Let talk to him. Some of them do have their own thinking. They might want to support their own friends. They might have family members that are in it. So it's if you ask me, would everyone follow the new planner? Not necessarily, because financial planning is a very people person thing, individual. They must like you as a person first. They must be comfortable with you. If they're not comfortable with you, then they will have to find another person to service them.
Yes, that is something that I can also agree on,
Mm.
because you have to have, like, I know that a previous podcast guest has explained this very well, but I think it's something to do with that you have the same interest, like you can relate to each other on a personal level as well, and that
Mm.
makes a good relationship. And and that's why some, or most financial planners actually aspire to be able to choose their own clientele as well.
Yes.
So yeah, and I guess my next question would be, since you were able to have clients with an older generation, and now you're also looking and servicing newer generations, like,
Yes.
have you learned from, or like, are there stark differences between how you deal with older generations and how you deal with the younger ones?
The methodology is totally different. The expectations and requirement for the older generations, if I were to put it, is they are more trust based, where they can tell you things like, okay, I want to get this done. Help me do it. I don't care how you do it. Just settle it for me. So it's very trust based, where because they've been working with each other for so long, so they can do that. And also back then, product choices are more limited and also less complex compared to now, where we are in the market where we are swamped with choices. People are more financially savvy. They can do their own research, and they don't take in everything you say. You tell them whatever, then be like, okay, let me verify what you say, whether is it correct or not. They also have their own thinking on how to proceed with their planning. So and especially now with so much complex products in the market, often once in a while they'll do throw me questions like, hey, I learned about this new thing. How would it impact my planning? Should we look at it? Should we try it? Yeah, that, so it's a totally different expectation between the younger generation and the older generations. Yeah.
Yes, I think I definitely agree with that. I do know that um, a lot of, especially the ones who the younger generation that I am. I am in my 30s, but I know that the younger generation are into, and because we have a lot of financial trends, like there's
Correct.
Bitcoin, there was this the botched one, squid
Squid
from the
coin.
Squid Games,
Squid coin.
yes,
Squid coin.
Squid Coin, and that, like, there are a lot of things popping up, and
Yes.
the newer generations are very curious about this, because there are trends, and I know that based on experience, the older generation don't really care for it. They like their they're like their Vanguard investments and all that stuff. So I can really see that there is a difference indeed with how, and I guess the approach that you take is also different from the from older generations to the new one. And but it's very interesting, right? Like the newer generations now are very inquisitive, like
Yes.
I guess because of the technology, that they second guess everything that you say,
Correct.
which is a good thing, but can also be problematic for financial planners
If
as
it's
well.
if it's a bit in moderation, it's a great thing. I oftentimes there are some clients that tell me, Raymond, I trust you. You do whatever needed. I
Yeah,
reply to them, no, please, I need you to be involved in this because it is your plan, and then you must know what's happening rather than put the let me hold the driver's seat. So if I were to use an analogy of building a sandcastle, the older generation during their time will be building the sandcastle, protecting it from waves, protecting it from crumbling down. And the younger generation now have their own sandcastle already. So they are looking at how to make it prettier, how to expand it. So it's a totally different ballgame.
right. Oh, which brings me to your article. So,
Your
and I
article.
mentioned this,
Yeah.
yeah. So, Kevin, Kevin Neo, who was a guest in my podcast and has
Yes, yes.
become my fast friend, has um, shared this article that you wrote. And it's one of the things that you actually mentioned in your article, right? Is to
Hmm.
review, and review,
Yes.
which means to take everything with a grain of salt and always. And I like your example here is that because this is so true that some people or some clients take
Mm-hmm.
on a financial product and then they quickly forget about it,
Yes.
and it's very good to review it in at least a yearly basis, to refresh what you've discussed with your financial planner or your
Yep.
with the service provider that you got.
Hmm.
So yeah, and oh, and let's just talk about this. So you created an article,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about your you correlating financial planning
With
with
cooking.
cooking, right?
Yes.
So can you tell us more about that, just to provide context to our listeners?
Well, if you look at my picture, I'm not exactly thin. So eating has always been my what my since I live to eat. I don't eat to live. So it's part of the family. Eating has always been eating good food has always been in our genes. So being a cook or chef was actually one of my when I was in uni. I went to this trial. They teach us how to do omelette, and then I'm thinking this is interesting. Maybe I want to do this. Then I was thinking this seems like a tough job. Never mind. Then I went to do a business degree instead, because I was
Yes,
thinking business degree would give me more choices, more
yes, that's
flexibility.
true. Mhm.
I can more mobility instead. So during MCO where we had lockdown, a prolonged lockdown since last year March, I took up cooking as a way to keep me sane. So I was in charge of cooking lunch for my family, and then with the resources we have, YouTube. I always watch Gordon Ramsay or Nigella Lawson, Jamie Oliver, all the big celebrity chef, how to cook, and then if they made it look like so easy, and then I managed to do it. So I found essentially I reignited my passion with cooking uh, throughout that. So how it linked to the article was in August this year, Kevin, which is my colleague, asked me, would you like to try to write an article for online website? I was thinking, hey, why not? I've never wrote before, and then I believe if my points are there, then there's always an editor to help me brush up my English. In fact, the cooking one is my second article. The first one I wrote is about the 5 things I observed as a financial planner over these years, the objections, the challenges my clients face. Then one day, this brilliant idea came into my mind to relate cooking and financial planning, because if you look at it, it's very much part of life. You want to cook, for example. What was the thing I cooked yesterday? Okay, you want to cook pajeon, which is a Korean pancake with seafood. You know that is your goal. Then the next is, once the goal is there, you need to know what are the ingredients you need, what are the time, what are the preparation. So once the goal is there, the rest of the thing will fall in place, which is parallels with financial planning, because you know how much you need to retire by when. My mentors always tell me SMART goals, SMART. So it all jives together. So that's why I'm able to write this article out. In fact, there are some other points that I wanted to add in. So I might have a part 2 of this, because you would never equate cooking with financial planning. It's 2 different practices.
Yes. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because your piece is very, very relatable, because everybody can cook. And then you've put the points on how they're just the same in such a very digestible manner. And I mentioned this to Kevin, that I've already circulated this to my friend. Yes, because I think it's very important that we use language as financial planners, that we use language that are easy to understand for other
Relatable
people.
to people.
And
Yes.
yes, relatable, like the cooking, right? Everybody cooks, everybody loves to cook. And so it's very easy for them to understand, like, oh yeah, because, well, as you say, like Gordon Ramsay and Jamie Oliver make cooking look so easy.
Correct.
But it's not, right? Like, there are easy things, but there are also complexities to it. And it's the same with financial planning. It is easy, but it's not easy. So yeah, so that's why I really wanted to include this in the podcast, because I think it's very interesting, and I hope that financial planners can also find a way to, like, have a conversation, if not create an article, have
Yes.
a conversation that's with their clients, or even with friends and family, that's very easy to understand for other people, who, especially those who are not very open yet to talk about financial planning. Because I don't know if in Malaysia that you guys are as open now. I know that before it was a
It's
taboo.
definitely better now. I believe subconsciously I'm trying to bridge the gap between, to remove the myth of financial planning is for the rich. In fact, I
Yes.
believe yes, for most of the rich people would do it, but even for the man on the street, budgeting, setting aside money for emergency, getting a good insurance plan, those are also financial planning. So by making it more relatable, I guess we are trying to make it less exclusive and more for the person down on the street.
Yeah, that's very good, because I think I remember, like, one of my friends posted on Facebook that a lot of people are preaching about financial planning and financial literacy, when there are still a lot of people who cannot afford it. But I was thinking, I think they got the definition of financial planning
Wrong
wrong.
concept.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they are thinking financial planning means I need to pay a fee, I need to go through super technical charts, all the numbers and whatnot. It's only meant for people with the resources. Actually, no, it's really to me, as long as a person is earning an income, then financial planning in any form would start coming in already.
Right. And I totally agree. And that's one of the things that I would like to break as well, that taboo that financial planning is not for everyone. And this is one of the goals for this podcast, is for other financial planners who are listening to this podcast to have ideas on how to break that taboo. So that's why I wanted to include your piece. But
Thanks.
and then so I guess my next question would be, since we're talking about, making financial planning accessible to everyone, and you mentioned that you offer four types of say services for your
Mm.
clients. You have cash flow protection, accumulation, and distribution planning. Can you tell us more about that and why you've chosen those four as your core offerings?
Uh, Mainly because of my clientels are at the stage of building their, like like the sandcastle example just now. They are still starting their career, and then they are usually more short term focused. So their immediate concerns would be like, I want to buy a house, I want to get married soon. Uh, I'm also getting a car. So some may not have the budget for doing a full plan for a super long term one. So
Mm-hmm.
what we try to do is we bring them beyond the day to day concerns of maybe not having enough money or struggling financially, and then we look at the big picture because I've been in this for 7 years already, and then I
Yeah.
have clients that been telling me, Raymond, I have no budget because I need to do so and so. From day one up to today, the story still remains the same, even though their circumstances have changed already. So, and oftentimes I encourage them. All it takes is to start small, start small amount, and then start planning today rather than doing it later. And then also, what I do is I insist at the beginning of my career. I will tell them, let's meet every 2 years to review on whatever you have. And then now, these few years, it has become a yearly thing because things simply change. And then, like for me, I was single before March, and then now I find a girlfriend already within this short period. So things can change within at a snap of a finger. So then when we meet them on the yearly basis, we can keep track of where are they now, and then is there any way we can assist them.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And very important. And because that's right, like there are a lot of changes that can happen in a person's life in a year. And it's very important to raise these changes and what these changes entail to your financial planner in order for them to determine if the course of action or the plan that they've set out for you as a client is still um, it still implies to you in your situation. If you have kids, obviously you have to update some stuff with your
Yes.
finances, with your insurance, right? So yeah. And but I guess, because your clients are still in their 20s, are still
Mm.
starting out, are still not even yet building their wealth, but still like securing the foundations of their finances.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you usually face in assisting these types of clients, and how are you able to work around those?
Usually they are more short-term focused, and then they look
YOLO.
maybe next 3 year, 5 years
Mm,
time frame. I
mm,
mean,
mm.
5 years to them is long term.
Yeah.
So to work around them is sometimes I have to force them. I don't care. You have extra budget. Could you just save this amount? Set this money aside for your emergency purposes. So and also have to guide them that you plan if you plan for if you spend so much time planning for your holidays, what about a big event like your retirement or when you are about to pay for your first house? You need to plan for that too? So we look at that and then try to get them to be at the same page as us. They may not fully commit to it, but at least they start with something. I believe starting is the first step of winning.
Yes,
Mm.
that's true. I definitely agree, because I know that a lot of my friends would, they don't say it, but I know that they would like to talk to someone, who
Mm.
ideally who's a financial planner, about if they're on track, because most of the time they are not.
Yes.
Um, but they are afraid, aside from thinking that it is expensive. One of the
Mm-hmm.
reasons that they are afraid to approach a financial planner is because they might be told to do something that they're uncomfortable with, such as saving for an emergency fund, or setting aside their bonus, or like or let's say like windfall money, instead of purchasing something or going out on a trip, to get it saved for a rainy day. So some people want that
Mm-hmm.
don't want to hear that. So I guess, like, did you ever have clients who had pushed back on like your advice?
Yes, because financial planning is a very individual thing. And from what I learned from my two mentors, they told me that the client's plan is not our plan. Because sometimes if you see the proverbial train coming towards you, you know you need to step aside. But sometimes some
Yes.
clients just want to stand there, here, come hit me. So we do our best to mitigate the damage.
Yes.
And then if after the bad thing happened, then we'll go back to them. Would you think we could have prevented this at the first place if you were do things differently? So and sometimes some things have to happen before they want to do something. For example, in regards to will planning, everyone knows that writing a will is important. They have maybe beneficiaries, they have estates to give out, but they just simply do not want to do it. So in due time, when something happened to someone, then you're like, oh, this is important, I want to do it. So part of the reason why I chose to work with young people between age 20 to 35, because I'm in the learning stage and growing stage also. So I think it would be nice if I have a planner that grows together with me, that is with me through thick and thin since day one, someone that has always been there. So I'm looking in that sense, rather than when they are wildly successful, then I talk to them, hey, let's talk about financial planning. The energy is different.
Yes, that's true, and I really appreciate that you actually really want to grow with your clients. I think I would appreciate that from my financial planner as well. So, right, thank you so much, Raymond. It was such a really interesting to talk about, and
Yes, thank
especially
you for
for
having me here today.
oh, you're
It's
most
very
welcome.
interesting.
So we're on the same age group, right? And that's why
Mm-hmm.
it's very refreshing. It's always refreshing to talk to a planner who, I can really connect with. So if I was a client, it would be easier for me to connect with you and choose you as a financial planner, because we more or less share the same types of
Concerns.
concerns. Yes, starting a family, buying their first properties, and all that stuff. So yeah, awesome. And before we end the show, is there like if anyone wants to know more about you, or if they want to chat with you, speak with you, how can they reach you?
Yeah, you can link connect to me via LinkedIn, where I believe Gwen would be posting the link at the underneath the description of the video itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so feel free to text me, and then and give comments on the cooking article, because it's
Yes.
actually my second article that I wrote. So I will be looking to write more articles in the future, and I'll post it
Oh,
in the LinkedIn's in the near future too.
yes, that would be
Mm.
awesome. I will go ahead and link your LinkedIn profile, as well as the articles that you've written, in the description box below, so that if there are also any non X, no, not non XY, but non financial planners who are listening to the podcast would like to learn more about financial planning, they can also read those articles. So again, thank you so much for coming into the show, Raymond. It was such a
Thank you for
pleasure
having me, Gwen.
pleasure talking to you. All right, have a
Yes,
good
it's
one.
an honor. Have a good week ahead. Thank you.